When your cat listens and meows back when you talk to them, do you actually know what they're trying to say? Most people just think it's a cute trick or that they're just asking for food. But behind that simple action, there's something deeper that most people miss. It's one of the most intimate things your cat can do. And if you ignore it, which most owners do, you might miss what they're trying to tell you and push them away. Let's start with what talking to your cat really means. 1. The auditory illusion. Do you ever feel like you're just talking to a brick wall when you speak to your cat and their ears are turned the other way? Most people assume that if a cat isn't looking right at you, they're completely ignoring you. This is where most owners get it wrong. Here's what's actually happening. Cats have incredibly complex satellite ears that rotate independently. When you talk to them every day, they aren't ignoring you. They're actively cataloging the tone, pitch, and emotional weight of your words without needing to give you direct eye contact. It's an act of passive listening that requires them to feel completely safe in your presence. Think about that for a second. They don't need to put their guard up or stare you down because your voice itself signifies safety. This reveals that your cat views you not as a potential threat to be monitored, but as a constant, comforting presence in their environment. And by the way, if your cat ever slowly blinks at you while you're talking, don't brush it off. We'll get to what that really means at the end of this video. But first, let's look at how they actually filter the sounds around them. 2. The voice filter. Have you ever noticed how your cat might sleep peacefully through a blaring television show, but wakes up the very second you whisper their name from across the room? You probably just think they have selective hearing. Here's what's actually happening. A fascinating 2022 study from Paris Nanterre University found that cats can not only distinguish their owner's voice from a stranger's, but they can actually tell when you're speaking specifically to them versus talking to another human. Researchers call this cat-directed speech. What makes this even more meaningful is that your cat's brain physically lights up differently when they hear the special, slightly higher-pitched voice you use just for them. They aren't just hearing background noise, they are experiencing a targeted declaration of love. Think about that for a second. Out of all the chaos, sirens, and noise in the modern world, your cat's brain has built a dedicated, permanent neural pathway just to recognize the sound of you choosing them. This reveals that to your cat, your voice is an anchor in a chaotic world. Which brings us to how your voice actually shapes their physical space. 3. The invisible scent mark. We all know cats mark their territory by rubbing their cheeks on furniture or scratching posts to leave their pheromones behind. We assume territory is a purely physical and smell-based concept. Here's what most people don't realize. Your daily conversations act as an auditory scent mark in their environment. A cat's territory is mapped not just by smell, but by predictable routines and sounds. When you talk to them consistently in certain rooms, the specific cadence and vibration of your voice becomes woven into their mental map of what is safe. Your voice literally acts as a territorial blanket. Think about that for a second. You are just making noise into the void. You are actively wrapping their home in an invisible layer of security. This reveals that your cat views your voice as a structural pillar of their home. Without your daily conversations, their territory feels empty and incomplete. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. 4. The mother tongue. Have you ever wondered why your cat meows back at you when you ask them a question about how their day was? Most people assume that's just how cats naturally talk to each other in the wild. Here's what's actually happening. Adult cats in the wild almost never meow at other adult cats. Meowing is a highly specific survival mechanism that kittens use exclusively to communicate with their mothers. When you talk to your cat every day and they talk back, they are engaging in a behavioral phenomenon called neoteny, the lifelong retention of juvenile traits. They're essentially treating you as their surrogate mother. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Animal cognition research shows that the pitch of a domestic cat's meow has actually evolved over thousands of years to precisely match the frequency of a human baby's cry. They adapted their entire vocal structure just to make sure you would listen to them. Think about that for a second. Your daily conversations are tapping into the absolute deepest, most primal maternal and paternal instincts across two completely different species. This reveals that to your cat, your voice isn't just a giant roommate who opens food cans. They see you as their parent, their ultimate protector, and their lifeline. 5. The VIP broadcast. Does your cat suddenly go completely quiet when guests come over, even if you try to talk to them like you normally do? You probably just think they're being shy or antisocial around new people. Here's what's actually happening. Conversational engagement is highly selective in the feline world. A cat will actively filter out human chatter that they deem irrelevant or unsafe. If they engage in a back-and-forth conversation with you, making little chirps, trills, and soft meows when you speak, it is an exclusive privilege. They don't do this with strangers. They are spending their limited social energy entirely on you. What makes this even more meaningful is that to a cat, vocalizing draws attention, which, in the wild, is a massive vulnerability. Think about that for a second. By choosing to speak up and answer your voice, they are willingly abandoning their natural stealth. This reveals the immense trust they have in your bond. They know that drawing your attention will only ever bring them love, never harm. So the next time your cat answers you from across the room, remember how much courage that tiny sound actually carries. 6. The chemistry of conversation. Do you ever just sit and talk to your cat when you're feeling stressed, or tell them about your day when you get home from work? You might just think it's a one-sided venting session to an animal that doesn't understand a single word of English. Here's what most people don't realize. Remember earlier when I said you shouldn't ignore it if your cat slowly blinks at you while you're talking? This is what I was talking about. When you speak to your cat in a calm, affectionate tone, and they respond with relaxed body language, like a slow blink, a rumbling purr, or kneading their paws, your nervous systems are actually co-regulating. Your daily conversations are quite literally altering their brain chemistry. The sound of your voice lowers their cortisol, the stress hormone, and triggers the release of oxytocin, the love hormone, in both of your brains simultaneously. Think about that for a second. You aren't just passing time. Your voice is biological medicine to them. When they give you that slow blink while you speak, they are showing you that your voice has physically dismantled their defenses. This reveals the deepest emotional truth of your relationship. You are their ultimate safe space, down to a cellular level. When your cat listens and meows back when you talk to them, do you actually know what they're trying to say? We've learned that it's not just random animal noise or a clever trick to get more treats. From mapping their territory with the safety of your sound, to tapping into primal maternal instincts, to literally syncing their brain chemistry with yours, your daily conversations are the foundation of their entire world. That's not a simple interaction. That's a profound display of trust, love, and absolute devotion. And that simple act of listening to your voice, it was never small to them. And it shouldn't be small to you either.